Hey gang, it's Jen here. I wrote a post the other day about how I warm up my barrel horse, and I kind of wanted to just make a little video kind of showing you the component parts of what that looks like. This warm-up is something that I do on every horse that I ride, every time that I ride, whether it's a barrel horse or ranch horse, or maybe even it's the first ride on a colt. These are all things that my groundwork that we do here and the groundwork that we do when we start colts, it all sort of leads up to what this looks like. That's not to say that this looks the same every day, and it doesn't look the same on every horse. Some horses, you might get on them one day and they struggle with one part or another, so you might spend a little more time on that one part. But I kind of wanted to just show you sort of where we like to start. I don't generally, when I get on my horses, I don't ever just all the time just go ride right off. I might get on him, I might pick up a soft feel, I might see if he can go backwards. Because what we're trying to do and what I'm trying to do with that warm-up essentially is build a partnership with that horse. I want that horse to always be checking back with me to see what it is I want them to do. That's what's going to allow for a better teamwork when you go, for example, run barrels on them. You don't get a horse that just takes over, spits the bit, and goes where you're not asking him to. You get a horse that waits on you. So I like to start, oftentimes I'll just kind of bend them here. That's pretty good. I want to try to keep their ears level if I can when I bend them from one side to the other. That's good. I like to keep their poll above their withers when I bend them, which we've talked about this before, I think, in some other videos. If they drop their poll below their withers, it puts the weight on the front end, and we don't want that to happen. Good. So now we might just walk around here. I don't have anyone to film me, so we're going to just try to stay in frame for you guys. So we'll walk. And I don't typically just mindlessly walk my horses. I'm always thinking about directing their feet even when I walk them. So I'll take some rein and have them walk off. Yes, that's true. I will do that. But when we're going to the right, like we are right now, this would be the time that we would ask. We'll just reach down here. I'll bend him. I'm going to move the hip around the front end. And then I'm going to move the front end right there. And we're just going to change direction. So that's kind of the first step in what I kind of wanted. I wanted him to reach back to me. I want him to feel back to me. I want to know kind of what he's thinking. This horse is always ready to show me how fast he can go. Steps around the front end, now front end. Good, now I might just back him up there because he's getting he feels a little anticipated to me. So you'll see his mouth is kind of going. That's okay. He's just telling me he thinks that he doesn't need me to help him. That maybe I'm doing too much. So I might even from a standstill, I might bend him here to the right and say, here, let's take your hips to the left. I'm looking for the right hind to step under the left hind. And then we'll see if you can step around the front, there. Then I might back him up out of that, just because I want to keep him back driving from behind. So then, if I feel like that's pretty good, and he's not too far from where I have him, I'll just kind of walk some little circles here. I like to walk little circles, and I like to have those front feet reach for me. So I'm going to pick up the left front foot with my left rein, and I'm just going to have it swing underneath my hand. Same thing now to the right. Get him more walk a little further to the right here. And I don't like to have him with his nose in the air when we do this because we're teaching some collection here. We're driving from behind. That's the goal with this exercise. You want to keep him walking. Keep him walking. There. I might let him stop without me pulling on him. But in order to help him learn to drive from behind, before I ask him to do a lot of maneuvers, I'm going to get him to bridle up like this. You're never going to see me probably ask my horse to leg yield if he doesn't look like this. We'll leg yield here. We do some of these as a walk too. So a lot of girl racers are very familiar with the counter bend, which would essentially be me taking my horse, bending him to the right here, and we're just going to ask him to go the opposite direction. I don't do this with my horses as a rule. What I do is leg yield him. So we'll walk the circle here to the right. Some of you are thinking, why don't you counterbend your horses, Jen? Well, I'll tell you. So here's my leg yield. Just making the circle bigger. We're just going away. Good. Now we'll change directions here. We'll leg yield now to the right because we're going to the left. So let's say, for example, that I need to, I don't know, move my horse away from the second barrel. Well, he's already good at leg yielding because he knows what that is. So I do that instead of counterbending them. Counterbending them basically off balances your horse because you're asking him to go to the left with his nose to the right. So the theory behind the counterbend is that this shoulder sets this hip. So your right shoulder sets your left hip. That's not true, but you can also help your horse set his hip by walking forward and swinging that leg. So left front, swing it, swing it, swing it, swing it. Now I can set a hip, and we can go into a turnaround speed. Good. So that's the reason I don't do it. If you want to do it, that's totally fine. I've counterbent my horses for many, many years, but I just find that the leg yielding works better for me. So, let's see. The other thing that I'll do in my walking warm-up generally is I will do a lot of walking kind of on a straight line. As much as I can, I'll walk on a straight line, and I'll pitch the reins to him here. Then I'll pick him up. I'll get that soft feel. Then I'll stop him. Then I'll just ride. I'll just wait for him to back up off that. So that's kind of, in a nutshell, what my 10-minute warm-up walking-wise looks like. And then once we're there, I do a lot of trotting. I really prefer to do most of my training and most of the work that I do on my horses happens at the trot. And the reason that I do it at the trot is because the horse can trot for a really long time. You only have maybe 10 minutes a day where you can actually train your horse at the lope. So I do a lot of things at the trot to prepare him for the lope. I don't lope a lot of circles on my horses. I don't like to if it gets harder on them. I prefer to just lope lots of straight lines. So I'll also kind of walk some circles like this, where I keep him round, and I'll do little corkscrews or little spirals, whatever you want to call them. And we'll just get that smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, and keep that turning going forward. Keep the horses real quick-footed. Stop him, back him up. Keep him soft. Good. If I want to trot one, I will generally, especially on this one because he's my rodeo horse, so we do a lot of, he's used to being gathered up like this before a run, so I try to do a lot of, when I'm going slow, doing slow work on him to keep him honest, if you will. This horse is pretty freaking honest. But in order to kind of keep him thinking back to me and not thinking that every time I gather up on him I'm going to run, or that we're going to make a run, what I like to do is gather him up here, and we walk off like that some too. We like to walk off like that, and then we also like to trot off like that if we can. Now, sometimes this horse, when we ask him to trot off, he loses that soft feel. And your horse might too, and the reason that they lose that soft feel is because they're not driving from behind. They're not picking themselves up with their hind feet. And interestingly enough, one of the ways that you can get your horse to drive behind, probably the easiest way, is to have him move his hips. So we'll slow back down here on all 80. And we'll just review quickly because I know you guys have probably watched all my videos about moving your horse's hips. See there, he's getting dumpy on his front end. See how his head's cocked like that? I don't want his head cocked like that. I just want it to come to 90. That's not bad. We'll release for that. So what I might do now is no reins, and I might just say, hey, can you, there you go, good. Can you move your hip again to the right for me without going forward? Perfect. Can you move it to the left? Good. So I work on those little things too, and that always helps get your horse really driving from behind. So these are the things that I do that work for me. You may do things differently, but the main takeaway that I want to give you guys in this is that it doesn't really matter what cue you use, and it doesn't really matter how you ask or what you do, as long as you're, one, being thoughtful of your horse, and two, you do the same thing every time. The horse really likes consistency. They need consistency. They're consistent in their relationships with each other, and they're consistent from day to day in the herd, and so the more consistent we can be, the better leader we're going to be for them. So, you know, if we consistently say, hey, I need you to get soft, and then after the softness, I need you to either walk forward, or I need you to stay soft, I need you to back up, but we're consistent in that, that's what they need, and that's what they're going to appreciate. So that's what my warm-up on my barrel horses looks like. That's what my warm-up on my ranch horses looks like. That's what my warm-up on my colts looks like. That is sort of how I check them out from day to day. And, you know, I may not spend much time focusing on moving the shoulders if they feel like they're really getting that. But if they're struggling to step underneath themselves correctly when I'm asking the hips to move, then I might spend a little more time on that. Anyway, I hope that you guys enjoyed this, and if you have questions, be sure to drop me a line. I'm happy to answer them, and good luck this summer running down the road, guys.